The world's most decorated road captain seems like a really bold statement, but I believe it to be true. But before we discuss the facts that make this statement true, let's talk about what a road captain is. What qualifies you to be a road captain? Before we even get into that, let me introduce myself. I am Adam Sandoval, a world record motorcyclist and philanthropist. I've broken multiple world records for long distance riding and for bringing people together on group rides, like when I promoted and held the world's largest parade of Harley Davidson motorcycles. There was over 3,000 bikes on one single parade, and it was an absolute epic ride where we raised a ton of money for the Combat Vets Motorcycle Association. I try to add motorcycle riding, group riding, and charity into almost everything I touch. And those efforts to date have raised over $1 million for different charities across our country. Actually, have raised millions of dollars. So with that said, I have experienced lots of road captains in my day and seeing different qualities and abilities and experience levels. And this is why I am going to break down what I believe a road captain's duties to be and why I believe Jay and Pamela Thomas to be the world's most decorated, most experienced road captains.
We are the road captains. So if we make mistakes, then it's on us.
So let's talk about those duties. What is a road captain? Well, a road captain is somebody who leads a group ride. The responsibilities are great. The responsibilities are routing the roads, making sure we're taking the best roads, making sure that we've got safe passage, knowing where the gas stops are, what side of the road those gas stops are going to be on, knowing where our food stops are going to be, and are they going to have enough parking for the number of bikes that are on the ride, making sure whatever our destinations are, and if those destinations have schedules, which ours often do, and we'll get into that, making sure that we arrive at those destinations on time, which is a big deal, especially when you start piling together long groups of motorcycles. Recon is a big thing. They have to actually take the time to look at these routes, figure these routes out ahead of time. This isn't something you can just jump on your bike and wing.
Planning the route, we usually do them at nighttime, and usually we're up pretty late doing that.
You have to know what roads you're taking, what routes you're taking, what the distance is between gas stops, because you might have small gas tanks or big gas tanks.
Whenever I'm going to find a gas station, I have to make sure that the parking lot's big enough. We got plenty of pumps, because if we're limited on time, it takes too long to pump gas, and it's just so I have to make sure that we're not crossing traffic coming in or going out, so it always has to be on the right side of the road.
And it is up to the road captain to figure all of that out and make sure that the ride, that the plan can keep the group together and can arrive on time. It's a huge responsibility when it comes to group riding and fundraising out on the road like we do with the Great American Convoy, and I'll tell you more about that in a second.
You may be cruising down the interstate, traffic's backed up. You have to make a quick decision to gain time to get Adam to the dealership on time. So we may jump on a 2-lane road for 15, 20 miles or so. And then, of course, if my fuel stop is on the interstate, then all of a sudden I got to find the gas stop.
The road captain is probably the most critical position and probably the most criticized position on the entire convoy. Now, if you've spent any time hanging out with any group of people, you know how difficult it can be to keep everybody happy. It's not an easy task at all. And this task does not get any easier with motorcyclists. In fact, maybe even a little bit more difficult, because sometimes you're dealing with louder personalities and bigger egos and maybe quite a bit more testosterone, if we're just being honest. So every day, especially if you're riding with new riders, people are telling you what you should do and where you should go. This guy thinks you're riding too slow and that guy thinks you're riding too fast. And in the end, there is no possible way to keep everybody happy. And this means you better have some pretty thick skin and some broad shoulders if you're gonna be a road captain, because you're gonna be criticized, you're gonna be ridiculed, and at the end of the day, you still have to perform your job to the best of your ability. You have to get it done. You have to make it so that the ride arrives where it's supposed to arrive on time. But your job is not to make everybody happy. Frankly, it's not possible. Your job is to make the ride a success, okay? And that success is based on everybody getting where they need to be on time, as safe as possible. So one of my philanthropic rides I do every year is called the Great American Convoy, and it basically makes me Forrest Gump. And people join me for as long as they can, some a day, some half a day, some as long as weeks or even months. We ride around to different locations, so far mostly Harley Davidson dealerships, and at those places we set up a donation jar and we raise money for a charity. We have been raising money lately for the Wounded Warrior Project. They help veterans fight battles that they're having right here on our own soil after coming home serving our country.
Last year we started out on a convoy at the beginning in Rogers, Arkansas. We was going to ride 2 to 3 days, and then meeting Adam and all the other riders, we just couldn't stop. I mean, it's just, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, when we seen Adam's heart for the veterans and how he wanted to help people and everything, it just made us want to help him do what he does.
And the convoy gives some unique challenges. We're moving every single day. You're never staying 2 days in one city, crossing multiple state lines, and you've got new riders joining every day. Some who know the area very well, some who think they know the area better than they do, and everybody with an opinion and everybody with an agenda and no experience riding together, or at least very little, if any. And all those things create some really big challenges. Not overcomable challenges, and frankly, the challenges are worth the effort. We're raising hundreds of thousands of dollars for our veterans with this effort, but in the world of a road captain, in a world of a group ride, this is probably the most difficult type of ride to put together. You've got multiple briefings with multiple people coming in and out of the convoy every day for a lot of days in a row. Let's talk about that. It's a bold statement to say the world's most decorated road captains, and I'm willing to challenges, but we have to compare apples to apples. Last year alone, Jay and Pamela led over 15,000 motorcyclists over 22,000 miles. That is a ton of leading, and it's not leading these groups every single day in the same town or the same state even. This is coast to coast, border to border, all 48 states across the country, all different terrains, everything you can think of, and you weren't always able to plan your route around rush hour or weather. If it was raining, you led the ride. If it's 110 degrees outside, you lead the ride. That, my friends, is something most road captains do not have to deal with. Often, the rides can be changed or scheduled due to weather or complications, or they're scheduled around rush hour or times. Well, this run is all day, every day, usually 7, 8 a.m. till 6 to 9 at night. There is no room to change anything because you've got an entire convoy, months of stops scheduled ahead of time, advertising, marketing, fundraising going into this. There is no, oh, the weather's bad, we're just gonna wait, or, oh, it's rush hour, we need to change the time. That just doesn't happen. No matter what's happening, you are leading a ride. So difficulty level, maxed out. I mean, there's just no way leading any other type of ride could possibly be more difficult than what this one is. I certainly haven't heard of one. If you know one, put it in the comments below, but I can't think of something more difficult. Take this into consideration. On last year's run alone, your local hog chapter or your local road captain would have to lead a ride every other week for 100 miles with 50 plus riders for 10 years straight, just to do what Jay and Pamela did in 3 months. That is remarkable. That is experience. Listen, Jay and Pamela really, really are super respected motorcyclists. I respect these two and their riding ability more than anything. They're like a symphony in front of that parade, riding side by side, leading it all across the country as it grows and shrinks by every mile.
It's truly an honor to be the road captains. We don't take it lightly, and we do appreciate Adam and all that he does for the veterans and us.
And allowing us to be part of it.
Their riding ability is absolutely phenomenal. They are super talented riders, some of the best riders I've ever shared the road with, and frankly, I think I've shared the road with more motorcyclists than anybody alive. I know we're making a lot of really bold statements in this video, but I think they're true because there's just not a lot of people who could pull something like this off and have the motorcycle skills to pull it off. In fact, I'm doing a ride down to Mexico. We're gonna ride across the border to Mexico, so anybody who's ever wanted to ride over the border but has been uncomfortable, we can all do it together. Jay and Pamela, they're gonna be part of that ride too. And frankly, I think it's super awesome that it's a husband and wife doing it side by side and them working together in unity. This is something this country needs more of. The world needs more of. Jay and Pamela are the perfect example of that. I'm so proud to have them on my team, and I am proud to say they are, in my opinion, and I think arguably by anybody, the world's most experienced road captains. Got a disagreement with me? go ahead and put it down in the comments below. I'm sure we've got lots of people who'd love to hear it.